We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalape. In our major story, multiple bomb blasts hit Borno State capital Maiduguri, leaving 58 dead and 139 injured. Also in this program, Independent National Electoral Commission conduct multi accreditation card reader exercise across selected states. And the All Progressive Congress APC drums up support for its presidential candidate in its 1 million man match as President Jonathan takes a fitness walk with sport icons and roles. Outside Nigeria, Russia detains 2 suspected names of killers. Thank you for joining us tonight. The Borno State Police Command in Maiduguri has confirmed the killing of 58 persons after multiple blasts in different locations of the town. Commissioner of Police Clement Adoda says a total of 139 persons were also injured during the blast. Adoda confirmed the explosions through improvised explosive devices occurred at 3 locations in Maiduguri. The first one was at First Gate of Baga Road Market at about 11:44 a.m. The second was at about 12:30 hours at Monday Market, while the third was at Borno Express Park at about 12:52. He added that normalcy had since been restored to the affected areas. Eyewitnesses confirmed that many children were among the dead and wounded in the explosions that hit the crowded markets and the busy bus station. Following multiple bomb blasts in the state capital, Borno State, Governor Kashim Shettima has cut short his campaign trip across the state. The governor, who was in Marama in Hawul local government area in the southern part of the state on a campaign trip and to inaugurate the Food for All initiative in the area, left the venue of the occasion at about 3 p.m. when he was informed of the incident. He did not depart the ground until an imam and a pastor prayed for the peace of the land, the repose of the dead, and the quick recovery of the injured. The Borno State government has advised internally displaced persons whose communities has been reclaimed by the military to exercise restraint in rushing back home. This is in view of the fear of dangerous reptiles and landmines planted by suspected Boko Haram insurgents in such communities. Haruna Michelia, the Commissioner of Housing and Rural Electrification in the state, gave the advice while addressing newsmen in Maiduguri. Michela says, though it was the wish of the state government for IDPs to return home quickly, a number of measures had to be taken to safeguard their lives after returning home. He says the government was not unmindful of the discomfort the displaced persons were passing through at the IDPs camps, as he described as premature the calls by some individuals for the IDPs to return home immediately. And now, the Nigerian Army on Saturday confirmed that it has recaptured 2 more local governments from Boko Haram in the northeast Nigeria after intense fighting. Army spokesperson Colonel Sani Usman said in a statement that troops have flushed out insurgents from Mafa and Mate local government area of Borno State. It disclosed that troops recovered a large quantity of high-caliber arms and ammunition, including anti-aircraft guns, from the insurgents without any casualty on the side of the military. The army noted that with the capture of Mafa, Mati, and Chadian troops in control of Bikwa, the international route from Cameroon, Chad, and Central African Republic to the area is now fully secured. The eligible voters in Kano on Saturday turned out in large number to verify the functionality of the card readers the Independent National Electoral Commission intends using for the general elections. The 54 card readers deployed for the few tags in Damaliki ward in Kumbosu local government area of Kano were effective with little or no technical hitch in the exercise. Resident Electoral Commissioner Mokaila Abdullahi told journalists that early mobilizations of 8 personnel and logistics were crucial to the success of the operation. He explained that INEC would not deny any voter the right to vote on any technical ground except if the permanent voter card did not belong to the voter.
I think so far so good. As you can see, the turnout is quite encouraging. People are cooperating. They are joining the queues in an orderly manner, and the accreditation is taking place smoothly. Only that there are some few challenges of the inability of the machine to capture some of the fingerprints, and that is taken care of by the filling in of the incident form. So we have already anticipated that, and I think we are on course.
On the whole, on the basis of what I have seen so far, I can say that the card reader works. And it represents a strong value added on the previous modes of elections. We've also noticed a few problems. And it's a good thing that INEC is rolling this system out now under more realistic conditions so that they can take back the reports that they get from the field and try and address them.
And while the mock accreditation exercises of the Independent National Electoral Commission on the use of the electronic smart card readers as the general elections fast approaches has come to Ekiti. The accreditation process, according to our correspondent Rashid, was accomplished in record time despite the low turnout of Ekiti registered voters for the exercise. Rashid has more in this report.
The largest ward in Ekiti State with 46 voting points and 14,461 registered voters with permanent voter cards played host to the mock accreditation exercise of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The low turnout of electorates notwithstanding, the field test ran under peaceful atmosphere with electorates coming out to verify their voter cards. Of particular importance is the time frame at which each accreditation will take, which is one of the focal points of the simulation exercise. Electorates speak on this.
Is there, they test the card, and my name is there, and my photocopy. Just 10 seconds.
I like the process, and it's very quick and very fast. So no delay.
So like how many minutes?
7 seconds. 7 seconds.
Though the accreditation timing range between 10 to 15 seconds might have been established, the low turnout of electorates made the survey to be limited, for there are no significant peculiar case. This, however, according to INEC chiefs, is no barrier in achieving the aims of the exercise.
The idea of presenting this machine is actually to detect mistakes, if any. And that's one of the issues we have said. We said we will report it normally because there is an incident reporting form where this thing is catalogued. But of course, it looks to me now that it's important that the Commission will have to take a uniform stand on the issue. We'll file our report and a decision will be taken on it.
On the basis of the fingers not be authenticated, nobody is going to be disenfranchised. And that's why we have mitigation strategies to combat just in case of certain unforeseen circumstances. And these are unlikely things to happen. They will not, if they happen at all, they will just be 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 cases.
Other concerned stakeholders like the police says the mock test is not only for INEC, but also for their various institutions.
So far so good. Everywhere is calm. I'm very much impressed with the activities, especially the activities of my men. It's also a test run for Nigerian Police Force to show our capability to hold ground when the actual moment comes.
People are buying into the car reader machine because they have experienced the practicality and workability.
With the exercise carried out, electorates bear their minds on its eventual usage at the general polls.
It's a wonderful exercise. At least we came here, we used the machine, within 30 seconds, we are through. And I believe it's the perfect thing we should use for the election.
As Nigerians await the final stand of INEC on card readers, observers note that the exercise is a litmus test of what to expect at the forthcoming general elections. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The People's Democratic Party has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to tell Nigerians the outcome of Saturday's testing of card readers. It nevertheless says it has noted a series of complaints from Nigerians regarding reported lapses experienced in the testing of both the permanent voters' cards and the card readers by the Commission. PDP National Publicity Secretary Elisa Metu in a statement says the worrisome fallout from the tests vindicates earlier widespread calls by stakeholders that the card readers should be thoroughly tested to ascertain their workability for free, fair and credible elections before being deployed for the actual polls. Metu expressed worry over the alleged reported lapses, which he says included but not limited to non-verification of voters' fingerprints even after authentication their PVCs. Slow accreditation process as a result of poor internet server operations in some locations and apparent inadequate knowledge of the card readers by both INEC officials and voters. He restated that INEC must realize that Nigerians expect nothing short of error-free and transparent process for credible elections come March 28 and April 11. And with the 2015 general elections a few weeks away, former President of the Republic of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, says progressive change will only occur if all Nigerians change first. Mbeki was speaking after receiving the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership Award. Patience Ajiboye was telling filing this report.
This was the prelude to the takeoff of the second edition of the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership, an initiative of Obafemi Awolowo Foundation held at the Musan Center, Onikon. The biennial event had President Goodluck Jonathan, represented by his Chief of Staff, Jones Arogbofa, former South African President and recipient of the award, Thabo Mbeki, amongst other dignitaries. Chairman of the occasion, Abdusalami Abubakar, says Thabo Mbeki was a great African.
Mbeki is not a stranger to Nigeria. And this distinguished award to an illustrious son of Africa represents an ecstatic homecoming and reunion of Nigeria. Impetus, I believe, would be given to Nigeria-South Africa relations by today's event and the bonding of the people.
Arogbofa, who says Obafemi Awolowo was a stickler for the rule of law and a people's man, urged all Nigerians to emulate Awolowo, especially as the elections approach.
The most distinguished factors about Chief Obafemi Awolowo were discipline and selflessness. He was clearly a man of modesty, despite his huge influence on political power. He was not also known for selfish ambition. In all he did, he was always a man of the people.
The awardee, Thabo Mbeki, says progressive change will not happen without an inward change first in every individual.
Make this commitment together, that we need to work together to create, to build, to nurture this kind of leadership that our country needs. Obafemi Awolowo serves as the lodestar guiding us.
The Obafemi Awolowo Award for Leadership is fashioned to reward people in leadership positions both in and outside Nigeria, and is named after the first Republic Premier of the Western region of Nigeria, who was reputed for his many innovations in governance during the early part of Nigeria's independence, and is still seen by most Yorubas as the benchmark for leadership. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka was the first recipient of the award. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. After the break, the All Progressive Congress APC drums up support for its presidential candidate in its 1 million man march. Find out more after this time out. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
If you've just joined us, this is CoreTV Primetime News. A reminder of our top stories now. Multiple bomb blasts hit Borno State capital Maiduguri, leaving 58 dead and 139 injured. An independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, conducts mock accreditation card reader exercise across selected states. And the All Progressive Congress APC drums support for its presidential candidate in its 1 million man march as President Jonathan takes a fitness walk with sport icons ahead pose. You can also reach us on our social media platform, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can as well follow at CoreTV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV with a space and news. And now major political parties in Ogun State have signed a peace deal with the State Police Command. The police say the essence of the peace parley is to reduce and totally avoid violence in the forthcoming general elections. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatuji has more.
Nigerian elections has been known to be traditionally fiercely contested, but in 2015, risks of violence have been particularly high. This will be the first nationwide contest, especially between two parties, the ruling People's Democratic Party and the opposition All Progressives Congress, since the return to civilian rule in 1999. Factional feuds within both parties could degenerate into violence during the national and state primaries, and this has made concerned parties, especially the police, interested in how to ensure a violence-free polls. Against this background, political parties in Ogun State signed a peace accord known as the Belkuta Accord. The move was initiated by the Ogun State Police Command. Parties that signed the accord included the All Progressives Congress, APC, People's Democratic Party, PDP, Social Democratic Party, SDP, Labour Party, and the All Progressives Grand Alliance, among others. Administering the peace accord, the State Commissioner of Police, Valentine Ntuchukwu, warned the politicians to abide by the terms of the peace accord.
Fomenting trouble during the election, during the campaign, and immediately after the campaign. Get the person arrested, bring him to me here. I will not grant bail to that person.
He also urged all representatives of the political parties to solicit peace within their parties to avoid violent clashes, and the police will not tolerate any further indiscipline.
If they want to take the person on bail, let them go to court. I will not give the person police bail because the person has committed a very serious crime, which is tantamount to sabotaging the election, and we are not going to take it live, whoever that person might be.
I want to implore the security outfits in the state to be impartial.
As a political party, the PDP, we have tried the hardest to run a very clean campaign without any brigandage
nor any act that can be considered provocative. As a matter of strategy and rule, we have avoided to even meet ourselves at the same location per time.
We have listened to the terms of the peace accord, and they are in tandem with our policy, with our principle, with our philosophy, that power and office should derive only from the will of the people freely given, and not by thuggery and by stuffs like that.
With the general elections just 3 weeks away and gradually gathering momentum, and with different attempts by the police to ensure a peaceful election, the electorate is optimistic for a violent-free polls. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
And now thousands of All Progressive Congress members and supporters on Saturday came together for a solidarity march in Lagos State ahead of the March 28 and April 11 elections to canvass support for their candidates. Among notable party members leading to the march are the APC national leader Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the APC governorship candidate in the state Akinwumi Ambode, and Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State, among others. The 1 million man march witnessed several civil society groups in Lagos. Representatives of the Lagos State Waste Management Authority and the Bus Rapid Transit were donned their official attires. Crowd of supporters, including commercial motorcycle riders and traders, lined the streets, shouting and singing in solidarity.
And we did it. Beyond those that took part in the war, millions of Nigerians were busy watching from their television. We have said it. We are going to prove it. They felt they could shift the date of the election, but they cannot shift our destiny. Our destiny is with the future of Nigeria. The future of Nigeria is about prosperity. We know that the only party that can give you a prosperous future is APC.
By the grace of God, the change we are looking for in this country will happen. It will happen if you vote right. Don't sell your conscience. When they give you money, spend it. It is your money. Today, this is the work for Buhari or Shibaju, and what a success. So come March 28th, who are you going to vote for? APC. And April 11th in Lagos, Ambode, all over Nigeria, APC.
To work for your freedom, to march for change. You know, this month, February 14th, we will have elected a new president to govern us, right? They change it to March, right? Now we are marching for that change. We are marching for Buhari or Shibaju. We are marching for common sense revolution.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has accused the All Progressive Congress, APC, of paying the sum of 5,000 naira each to participants of its 1 million man march for its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari in Lagos. In a statement credited to its publicity secretary Taofiq Gani, the PDP says groups that attended the march received between 1 million and 10 million naira. The PDP, in its allegation, says the APC is deceiving Lagosians by tagging the march as 1 million march, since the Teslim Balogun Stadium, where the walk ended, could only accommodate 24,000 people. The PDP also accused the APC of vandalizing posters and billboards of its candidate during the march, as well as attacking 2 private vehicles with stickers of the PDP governorship candidate Jimmy Akpaji. And now, President Goodluck Jonathan on Saturday promised to set up a special fund for the sporting community if he gets his second term in office on March 28. He made the promise at the end of a fitness walk that saw him trekking from the presidential villa to the Eagle Square in Abuja. President Jonathan was accompanied by government officials, including Vice President Amadi Sambo and Senate President David Mark. He told the gathering that the special fund will serve as stopgap for training before budgets are approved.
Sporting is something that we must encourage because it brings unity. Another thing is that sports really project the name of this country. I remember in year 2000, I was a deputy governor and I thought I was a very big person as a deputy governor. I led the Bayelsa State team to the Sydney Olympics. When we arrived in Sydney at the airport, the immigration officers were asking whether I was a footballer. They didn't want to know whether you're a governor or deputy governor. It was not important to them. But they wanted to know whether I was a footballer. Because then Nigeria was quite good in soccer. So sports gives a big name to a country and must encourage you. And of course sports also create jobs for young men and women and must encourage you. And that is why when I see retired athletes, people who have made name for this country, living a life below average, I feel touched. And we must set up funds to make sure that nobody who have made this country proud will be a beggar.
I had a journey, I have a story, and we all are, as I said earlier, we are captains, we've won trophies, but my journey is peculiar, and yours is peculiar too. When I was about to achieve the 100 caps for Nigeria, my coach here called me. I was confused. I said, I think I've played for so many years for Nigeria. I didn't really know what it was all about. Coach Osinegova called me and encouraged me not to stop, that it was a great mileage. He said I had a mission and I have to accomplish it. You encouraged me. You encouraged the football sector. We won the Nations Cup. I got the 100 caps, and now you have a mission that is also unaccomplished. You have set a platform, a legacy for people to build on. But Mr. President, who the sports people are telling you that we cannot let you go until you fulfill your mission.
Again, the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Organization has dismissed the 1 million man march of the All Progressive Congress as a flop. It argued that the party could only muster about 10,000 persons to rally support for its national leader Bola Tinubu in Lagos. Spokesman for the campaign team, Femi Fani-Kaode, said in a statement that it shows that APC has lost control of the state. He added that PDP expected that the former Lagos state governor would use the opportunity of his speech at the Teslim Balogun Stadium to address the issues raised in the controversial documentary aired on a private television station. Fani-Kaode also dismissed claims by Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola that President Goodluck Jonathan has failed, like the biblical Jonah, to deliver God's message. PDP campaign spokesman added that some of the speeches at the occasion show that the opposition knows more about the whereabouts of the Chibok girls and the activities of Boko Haram than they have cared to admit. He maintained that if anything happens to the girls and if they are not produced soon, a ruling party would hold APC and some of its leaders responsible. First Lady Patience Jonathan has visited Owerri in Imo State to campaign for the re-election of her husband, Goodluck Jonathan, with a message to the people of the state to vote for continuity for all those who have done well in offices in the state. Our correspondent Ajibade will first file in this report.
Patience in Imo State. The visit of Mama Peace as the First Lady is fondly called brought together various support groups, with the national coordinator of one of such groups, Community Awareness on Development Network, Miriam Jubril, saying the president has done well.
Kawan is an NGO, a non-governmental organization. We are into self-help, giving information to the community, and telling them about the development of the present-day government. We are standing for Mr. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan because of his transformation agenda for Nigeria.
With the crowd getting restless, the First Lady arrival served as the tonic needed to leave the atmosphere, with shouts of Mama Peace renting the air. He added that the people should ask the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, what he forgot in the presidential villa. The event also served as a platform to project all the PDP candidates in the state and the federal elections.
Away from politics now, the Synagogue Church of All Nations and its founder, Temitope Joshua, has lost bid to hold the ongoing coroner's inquest into its collapsed guest house in an application filed before a Lagos State High Court Ikeja. The presiding judge, Justice Latifa Akuno, held that the application was premature and lacking its merit. On whether coroner inquest can be sued or can't sue, Justice Okuno says that although the coroner's court cannot be sued, but the coroner judge, Chief Magistrate Oyetade Komolafe, can't be sued in his capacity as a coroner. Delivering her ruling, Justice Okuno further held that the court needed to resolve the issue whether the coroner has acted contrary to the rules of natural justice by not granting the applicants a fair hearing and whether he has exceeded the scope of a coroner's court. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We take another break now. We return with business, sports, and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
In business now, lending rates rose to 11.25 on Friday compared with 8.25 and 8.3 week on the Naira. Liquidity tightened. The market liquidity dropped to about 400 billion naira credit by Friday compared with 260 billion naira on Thursday. Nigeria sold a total of 254.9 billion naira of debt against speed worth 318.58 billion naira. The secured open buyback rose to 11% from 8% last week. The secured fund was 2% age point, short of the central bank's 13% benchmark interest rate. Overnight placement stood at 11.5% against 8.5% last week. Nigeria's central bank requires commercial lenders to set aside 75% of public sector and 15% of private sector deposits in liquid cash in their account with it. The federal government plans to raise 95 billion naira by selling sovereign bonds with maturities ranging between 5 and 20 years on March 11th, the Debt Management Office said. The DMO says it will raise 35 billion naira in 5-year bonds and 35 billion naira each in a 10 and 20-year paper using the Dutch auction system. All the bonds are reopenings of previous issues, and the result of the auction is expected to be published on the 12th of March.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead.
And in sports now, Britain still need the points to reach the Davis Cup quarterfinals after Jamie Murray and England lost a thrilling 5-set doubles match to American world #1s Bob and Mike Bryan. Murray was broken 4 times as the Bryan brothers opened a 2-set lead. The British pair delighted the Glasgow crowd by fighting back to level, but the Bryans took a hard-fought final set to win 6-3, 6-2, 3-6, 6-7, 9-7. And Murray and Jamie Ward gave Britain a 2-0 lead with singles victory. The former will face John Isner in the first of Sunday's reserve singles, knowing a win will secure a home quarter-final tie against France. Now, Nigeria took a step to qualifying for the 11th All-African Games with a second leg 2-0 win over Gabon, thanks to goals from Segun Odudua and Ajayi Jr. in a tie that petted two sides with some bright young talent. Dream Team 6 completed a double over the Gabonese in front of their fans at Abuja National Stadium. The first leg tied in Libreville ended 4-1 in favor of Nigeria. Samson Siasia's word could not find a way through the defense of the Gabon team in the first period. Samson Siasia Birds will face Zambia in the final qualifying round in order to pick a ticket to Mozambique.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. And Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Outside Nigeria now, the head of Russia's Federal Security Service, FSB, has announced the arrest of 2 men detained over the murder of Russian opposition politician Boris Nemtsov. FSB Director Alexandra Bonikov says the suspect, Anzor Gubashev and Zao Dadayev, both from the Caucasus region, were detained on Saturday. Russian investigators say they were suspected of organizing and carrying out the murder. The killing on a bridge with site of the Kremlin shocked Russia. The former deputy prime minister and veteran liberal politician, 55, was shot in the back 4 times on the night of 27 February as he was walking on the street with his girlfriend. He was buried in Moscow on Tuesday. The announcement was made on state television by the head of the FSB himself in a clear sign the Kremlin wants to be seen taking this case extremely seriously. And our top U.S. diplomat John Kerry has sought to smooth differences with France over nuclear talks with Iran, agreeing with the French that there were still gaps to overcome in the critical weeks ahead. The U.S. Secretary of State says it was up to Iran to prove its peaceful intentions to the world if it wants a deal on its nuclear program ahead of the looming March 31 deadline. He was speaking to reporters after a 20-minute meeting with French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius in Paris, where they tried to iron out their differing views on the deal. France has privately expressed concerns that the final agreement will not include enough ironclad guarantees to stop Iran acquiring a nuclear bomb. Fabius emphasized that any deal to remove sanctions could not be thrashed out only between Iran and the U.S. Fabius acknowledged that progress had been made in the month of talks since an interim deal reached on November 2013, but stressed differences still remain, which had been to be overcome, and there is still work to do. In a show of unity, Kerry says he has the same assessment as Fabius. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go, here is a recap of our top stories tonight. We told you that multiple bomb blasts hit Borno State capital, Maiduguri, leaving 58 dead and 139 injured. We also reported that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, conducts mock accreditation card reader exercise across selected states. And finally, the All Progressive Congress APC drums support for its presidential candidate in its 1 million man march as President Jonathan takes a fitness walk with sport icons ahead post. Well, that has been the show tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape on behalf of the entire news crew. Good night.